Welcome back, guys. What's up, everyone? Um, yeah, so I was supposed to actually stream today, but I wasn't able to stream, so I decided to actually do the do it the other way around. So trying to test out how this will work. I think this is my first time recording before recording without streaming. So that's what I'll be doing today. Just trying to record this and see how this works. If it's much better. Than streaming, but I prefer streaming. But we're still going to keep on streaming, guys. But just trying things out at the moment. So yeah, what I'm trying to do right here today is basically show you guys how I do my layouts in Flutter, how I basically create my whole layouts and before I start adding any UI components to it, basically maybe any high quality UI stuff, but I just do a low base or um mid layout UI, so before adding other stuff on it. So that's what I'm going to show you guys how I do it on my own, and hopefully you guys are going to learn a lot from it. So what we are trying to actually achieve is this. I'm trying to get something to work on both mobile and on also web and desktop. So this is basically what this looks like on mobile. But I'm not going to show you the desktop at the moment or the web, but I'm going to be coding it right from now. So I will start off by coding the web part of it, the desktop part of it, and you guys can follow along. And later we can actually test it on other devices. But this is what it should look like on mobile. So with that being said, let's get on board. Right over here. And guys, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do subscribe. Just remember that right now. Drop a subscription for me right now. So over here in our main.dat, I'm gonna create a new file. I'm gonna call that basically a new folder. I'm gonna call that presentation. Actually go ahead and name this like this. Most all my videos are named in this way. Basically I have presentation. So the presentation, we're going to create another file. We're going to call this main underscore layout. Instead of calling this main underscore layout, I should call this main underscore job platform layouts, because we're going to be creating a lot of layouts from now onwards. So I choose one day like that to be creating layouts. So job platform layouts dot dat. So have that here. I'm going to create this to be a stateful widget. So we have a stateful widget right here. I'm going to name the main so still name it the name of the file, name job main job platform. There we go. So we have main job platform right now. Looks like I didn't add a background music, so let's go ahead and add that. Yeah, I think that's actually working right now. So we have this. First, I'm gonna create add a scaffold in here, and inside the scaffold is gonna have a flex as a body. So remember the starting point of your custom widget mostly start with scaffold. Yeah, unless you want to do it a kind of like a micro UI or something like that doesn't need a scaffold. So we're gonna create a scaffold here. I got it wrong, so it's called a scaffold, right? This return, we forgot the return statement right here. Let's delete this at the top, then import this. And once that is imported, I think we need to fix some stuff. It should be this scaffold, and the R should be gone. That should be declared by L, and we're gonna say scaffold body. Remember our body is a flex, so the reason why we are using flex right here, because we want to kind of position this in a horizontal form. Think at this point I need to show you guys what this should actually look like. Because so this is basically what we are trying to achieve. I'm trying to get create a layout that looks like this, and if you take a look, this went off. Yeah. So if you take a look like here, you're going to see that this is actually divided into so many rows. So we have row 1, I mean it's divided into so many columns. So I have column 1, column 2, column 3, and column 4. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 of this. So that's why we are using flex right here. So that's why I'm trying to make use of flex, because if we use flex, if we use flex in this case, we'll be able to actually have our children of this flex position in a direction that we want. In this case, we want this to be positioned in a horizontal axis. I'm gonna say axis does horizontal. So that we want this to be positioned in the horizontal way, like I said, in this way. So this is horizontal. We kind of want to also add responsive UI to it, so that when someone actually goes on different devices, it's gonna have this respond, or whenever someone wants to minimize the desktop or web or any of them, this will actually work very well. And the animations actually added also improves animations. So this is basically what we are trying to achieve right here. So let's go ahead and start coding this up. I'm gonna put this by the side. We're going to start off by running this to actually show up in our desktop form. So I'm going to run this in the desktop. First of all, let's fix some issues right here. So we actually have an issue. I need to fix this with. So there we go. We have this already. So let's go ahead and run this. There we go. So this is basically how our app looks right now. The reason why we are seeing this is because, if you could remember, if you kind of like bootstrap your Flutter app and run it for the first time, you're going to have something like this showing up on both mobile and also on web or desktop, depending on the platform where you are running the bootstrapped Flutter app on. So right there we are actually showing this on desktop. So this is a desktop platform that we're using. So right now, right here, so I'm basically go ahead and start adding the children that we need right there. But for now I'm gonna go ahead and copy some code so I can actually be fast with this. So I already have this written somewhere. Paste this. Go ahead, format this. So there we go. Once we actually got this, so let's go ahead and save this and see what this looks like. Control S for save, and let me show you guys. And there we go. You can actually see these showing up. So you can actually see the first path being shown up here, but currently it's kind of small. Yeah, that's the size we need it to be. So the next we need to add the second child that should be here, which is the red one. So to add that should actually be a flexible, or basically you can actually use a container, anyone you want. So let's go ahead and do that also. The same, I'm gonna still copy the code and then paste it in here. So over here, so this is the code I copied and pasted in here. So I'm gonna uncomment this out, so I'm gonna remove this path. Then go ahead and save this. Let's take a look at what we have so far. So right now, show you guys. So if you take a look, I'm gonna see that right now we have the blue one and the red child side by side in a horizontal axis, horizontal layout. So we need to add another child to it also using a flexible layout. This I need to add some closing tags to close it. And if we go ahead and save this, now we should have the third one showing up. So I'm going to show you guys what that looks like also. So there we go. Because we added those ones at the moment, so because we added this code right here, this flexible, we are saying it should take a flex of 4, so that means it should have the it should take more space than the red one. So because the red one is giving a flex of 2, and this one is giving a flex of 4. Basically that's kind of the one. That's how you calculate that. But basically what that means, the more you increase the number in that flex, the more you increase the number, the flex number, the more the space that particular widget takes up in the screen. So that's kind of like an easier way to understand this. So right now we have these 3 widgets side by side, the blue, red, and the yellow one. And that's not actually close to what we currently have. The design I showed you guys previously, which is this. So if you take a look at our design right here, what we're trying to achieve, so we have the blue one right here, we have the red, and now we have the yellow one, should be the one in the middle, but inside this yellow one that we currently have right here, should be where we have the green. We need to add the green top bar inside it, and we need to add a left sidebar inside it, and then add the scrollable widgets inside it too, because this is actually a scrollable widget that we have here. All these are scrollable widgets, so we need to also add that in between. So let's go ahead and do this. And shake this to be invisible. So I'm going to keep this by the side also, and then go ahead and let's keep on adding the code. So in here, inside this flexible, I'm going to create a new one, a child property, and the child property is going to be a stack widget inside it. Basically that should be inside a container. Yeah, child, and that should be a stack. And stack, remember stack has a children property, and then inside the children property, that's where we're going to start adding stuff that we need. First of all, I need to add a blue bar that I showed you guys that should be on top. Is that blue or green? Yeah, that's the green bar that should be on top. So I'll paste this code right here. So go ahead and save this. This for the inside a stack, I'm using a positioned widget. So for positioned widgets, basically a widget that will help you to position children inside a stack, because a stack kind of like looks like a stack of paper when you have a paper sheet on top of each other. So that's called a stack. That's how a stack widget behaves. Each of these child or children is kind of layered on top of each other. But if you want to position each of them kind of like separately or without, so that they can be layered on top of each other, we need to use position widgets to actually wrap the children. So in here, the direct children, we could have used container, but we don't want this to be layered on top of each other, so we're using position widget to position it inside a stack. So that's what the position widget is doing. So if you go ahead and save this, I'm going to show you guys what that's going to look like. You guys already seen that immediately, so here we go. So you can actually see the top bar, which is the green top bar showing up, and also in there I'm using a builder widget I'm using that to return a center widget that has an icon button right here, and inside the icon button I'm having something called scaffold.context.open drawer. Right now you can actually go ahead and comment this out because we don't have any drawer added to our app, or we can actually leave it, but let's go ahead and comment it out. Once that's commented out, next I need to add the sidebar I told you guys. So we need to add a sidebar that should be by this side also. So let's go ahead and add that. I'm going to copy the code also for that. So that should be under this first position widget, and then remove this and the code. Go ahead and save this, and you can actually see the sidebar being shown. So we already added the sidebar right now, so everything is kind of like taking shape, almost coming together like the base UI that I showed you guys on the base project. So also one stuff I want to point out to you guys is that you can actually use, instead of using position widget, you can actually use align. You can use align widget in here to actually position children. So let me show you. So right in here, I'm gonna comment this align widget out, and then commented this. I'm gonna comment this so that it should not be visible, and then comment this one out to actually show you guys. There we go. Go ahead and save this right now. Guys, so like I said, this is the alignment property that we're going to use. I'm using it right now, and there's another stuff you can actually use, instead of using alignment with the previous code that we have here. So what we can actually do is to use alignment dot to use the helper static functions. So I could actually use alignment dot center left, and over here I'm going to go ahead and remove this, save. And if you take a look at what we have right now, you can actually see this is center left, actually say alignment dot center right, and you can actually see this is actually centered right at the moment. So because we are using alignment dot center right, which is basically this right here, we are able to actually see this being centered right. So you can use positioned alignment, and you can actually use transform dot translate, but I usually use that if I'm trying to do an animation inside a stack widget. But if you're not trying to do animation, so you can actually use this too. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove this and revert back to our main code, which is position widget that we're using. So I'm going to remove the alignment and keep the position widget. So go ahead and save this, and have the purple sidebar showing up. So that's it so far. So let's take a look with the one we currently have. So this is what we are trying to achieve, and this is what we have so far. So this is the one we have so far, and this is what we're trying to achieve. So if you take a look, yeah, so yeah, so it's remaining, what is remaining right now is the middle widget that's kind of actually scrollable. So we are going to add the scrollable middle widget. So to add a scrollable middle widget in here, just need to go because these are the inner the flexible, which is the yellow one. So inside there, before the positioned widget, I'm going to copy some code that will actually help us to create the scrollable widget, and I'm going to explain what we are doing in there. So there we go. In here, I'm going to create a positioned widget, and inside the position widget, I'm going to paste the code in here that we actually need. Gotta format the code, and once that's formatted, so let's go ahead and talk about what we have so far, what the position widget is doing, why it's added on top of previous one. So the reason being, the reason why I added this here, because I want the previous position widget in here to be on top of this of the middle one that we're going to add. So if you want it to be on top, if you want this middle one to be on top, so we have to add this one, this position widget at the last part. So we are going to move this position widget to the down below. So that means it's going to be on top of every other position widget or every other siblings. But if you want it to be underneath every other siblings, so we are going to actually add it at the top here. Because remember, I said it's a stack. Everything got kind of like stacks on top of each other. The first one is under, and as you keep on adding, so you keep on stacking on top. So right now I have this. If I go ahead and save this, basically it is a dummy widget. You guys already, there's nothing much compressed yet. Like I said, position, size box, we are giving it a full height and width of the device, and a scrollable single child scroll view. Also, like, let's first of all save this first, and there we go. So you can actually have the the middle widget right now showing up. So let's take a look and see what this looks like. So let's try scrolling through it. If you try to scroll through this, it's not actually scrolling, so that's an issue. So I'm going to show you guys what the issue is about. So if you try scrolling this, it looks like we kind of like hit a bug right now. Nothing's actually scrolling at the moment. So fix this. There's an easy fix to this. So I'm going to create what we call I'm going to extend the class called material scroll behavior. So we are going to add a scroll behavior to our desktop app. Basically what I'm trying to say is that we need to add a custom scroll behavior for us to be able to scroll through our for us to be able to use scroll on a desktop app. Without adding this, you can use a scroll on the you can use scroll on the desktop app, so it's been kind of ignored in the beginning. So we need to add this by extending the material scroll behavior. And once that is extended, we're going to add devices. Drag devices should be touchpad, touch, mouse, and trackpad. So that's basically what we'll be using. Once that is added, so we are going to go inside your entry point, which in our case is my app right here. In here, I'm going to add scroll behavior, and the scroll behavior is going to be my custom scroll behavior that we created, and that's basically what we have right here. If I go ahead and save this right now and go back to the app that we have and try to test this, so it looks like we need to rebuild this from scratch. So I'm going to stop this from running, or I'm going to rebuild this again. So we're gonna wait for this to actually build. So I'm rebuilding the whole stuff. And yeah, there we go. So I can actually see this working right now. So so the issue we had first is because we actually added this and we didn't rebuild the app. So it needs us to rebuild the app for this to be taken into consideration. So we rebuilt the app. Sorry guys, we rebuilt the app and everything is now working as it should. So you can actually see the scrolling working. So there we go. The scroll is actually working as expected. So yeah, you can actually go one step further and start adding other stuff to the app. I think if you kind of keep this side by side with what we have before, it should actually be the same. I don't think there's any stuff missing. So we already have the sidebar added right here as a sidebar, and also we have the top bar, which is the green one. We also have the red and the blue one. Okay, that's good. That's actually good. We are getting there. But right now what we need to add is the animation path. So we need to add the animation path, because if you take a look here, see how this is expanding, and if you kind of like shrink it, see the animation and expand, shrinks, expand. So that's the animation we are adding, and kind of like keep on shrinking it to a point. You see the blue one kind of like goes off with an animation. So if you expand it a bit, it comes on, goes off, comes on. So those are also what we need to actually add. So we're going to add that. So let's start. Let's put this side by side. Actually go ahead and minimize this a bit, put this somewhere by the side. So the first one we are going to animate right now is basically, so the first one we are going to animate is the blue one we had. Right now, if you kind of like resize what we have so far, let's try resizing this. You're going to see some issues that we actually have to start before adding the animation. Yeah, I just forgot that. Let's try fixing the responsiveness first. So right now, if you go ahead and resize what we have, you see how bad this is actually working. So it's not actually being responsive. You can actually see this yellow ribbon right here. So the yellow ribbon in React in Flutter is basically telling us there's an error or overflow error show in our app. So right now I see that this is messed up. Even the responsiveness is not actually working. So that's what we are going to fix right now. I'm going to fix the responsiveness of the app. So let's go ahead and do that. So right here we have this two code. This code is actually checking to see at what midpoint or at what breakpoint should we be able to hide these two, the red sidebar and the right sidebar. So that's what the first one is actually checking. So it's actually checking. So when the app width, the width of the app or desktop app is kind of like less than 1000 pixels, you should be able to hide these two, this red and also the purple sidebars. And next, the second one, the second code that we have here, which is basically the is hide sidebar. This one right here is hide sidebar. It's checking to see when the app is less than 600 pixels. That's basically when we will need to hide this one, this blue container, and then show a drawer in place of that. So that's basically what the two code is doing. And we're able to get that using media query. So media query can actually give us the size of our current device or something like that. So once we have these two right here, next I'm going to say if a sidebar, so if a hide sidebar is true, show us an empty container. There we go. We're going to be shown an empty container. Else, show us this. So if you go ahead and test this out, save it, and let's bring this up here. So let's resize this to start with. Size this. So let's resize this. You see, we got to a breakpoint that is less than 600. You can actually see the blue one is kind of like disappeared immediately. See that? That's actually cool. Next one we can actually add to know when we actually got into a point that we need to hide the second one, which is the blue one. So let's do that. So in here we are going to be using is hide column. So if his hide column is true, show us an empty container, else show us the flexible. And if you go ahead and show this up, you can actually see that this is working. And if you try to expand this to a point, yeah, see that shows up. And if you kind of reduce it to a point, it's kind of like being hidden. So let's do that for the last sidebar also. So for the last sidebar, so here we go. For the right sidebar, that should be this right here. Yeah. So we also need to hide this. Is hide column. If it's true, get hidden, and that was actually working as expected. So if you take a look right now, you can actually see the both side is actually hidden. Even the three of them is not hidden, which is good. And if you kind of keep on expanding this to a point, and you can actually see the two sidebar is actually added to the app. So actually good. Next we can actually do right now is to add an animation to this, to the resizing of the two the whole three containers, so that it should actually look good, not look like a disappearing stuff. Like the user cannot like be surprised, okay, what went on. But if we add an animation, it kind of like actually helps the user to understand more of what is going on within the screen, or what is going on in the UI that I'm using, or something like that. So that's what we're going to do right now. So we're going to add some micro animations to it. So we're going to start with the first one that we kind of like was hidden. I'm going to go up here and start creating an animation. To be fast with this, I'm going to bring in some code. So there we go. So I have this tree code added. I'm going to add another one for init states. Our animations, we are going to be adding inside the init state. And in here, add this in its state. And remember also you're gonna actually see this error showing up, so that's because we haven't added a mixin that we need for the animation. I'm going to use ticker state provider mixin. That's because I'm having two animation controller, so that's why I'm using ticker state provider state mixin. So if you're using one animation controller, you can just use single ticker provider mixin, something like that. So once that is added, the next stuff you can actually add right here. Now I should actually dispose this animation. That's actually one of the most important stuff to do. Always make sure you dispose the animation to free up some resources in your app. That's for performance, good performance practices in Flutter. So we added this dispose animation. So we are at the point we need to start using the animations in our app. But before we do that, I'm gonna kind of like create this to be I'm trying to think of better way to do this, because some people will actually want to use this UI without the animation. So I'm trying to make it in a way that maybe we can actually create two git files. So I'm going to add a git in here to save the current state of our app. So I'm going to say git init. So let's initialize the git in here. So git init. So once git is initialized, I'm gonna go ahead and add all this stuff. Git initial commit. I'll have initial commit. Go ahead and commit this. That's committed. And for the next one, I'm gonna create a new brand. Git checkout -b it. I'm gonna say main job platform layout animation. I think this name is actually too big. Animation. Okay, and then check that out. You can actually see that it's actually checked out. So right now I can actually start doing stuff in here, the animation part in this particular repository. I'm not repository in this particular branch. So right now what I need to do is basically go ahead over here. I'm going to copy some code that will help us to do this. So I'm not going to start writing this from the beginning again. And I'm going to go ahead and also explain what we are doing. So right here, first thing first is to delete what we have so far. There is hide sidebar, we don't need it anymore. Delete that and replace that with animated builder. Once that is deleted, so I'm going to go ahead and delete this part also. Don't need it. Goodbye, bye bye, we don't need you. We add animated builder. So inside the animated builder, the reason why we are doing that, you kind of like, if you want to build a custom animation, you don't want to use other animation. So there's other spectrums of animation that, is that the right word to use here? But there's other animations that kind of been provided by Flutter itself. We have animated opacity, animated position. There are a whole lot of them. But if you want to build your own for from scratch, basically call that custom animation. So you use animated builder for currently building each widget that you want to be animated. So in this case, that's what we are doing right here, and we are using controller 2 to be animating this particular the first blue container. So that's what I'm trying to animate. So that's why I removed the previous code. So we go ahead and save this. There's nothing much here, just the only difference that we added animated builder on top of the previous container that we have. The blue container that we have, that's all. So go ahead and save this right now, and we're going to have this dreaded blue notification or screen telling us, okay, we kind of like have some issues and errors that we need to fix. So the fastest way to fix this, just restart your app. Once you have your app restarted, I don't think if you guys can see the animation. So let's do this again. Let's restart the app. You can actually see the cool animation kind of like sliding in. If you go ahead and test this, so let's try doing some, let's play around with this. So it's kind of like reduce the size, the width a bit. Okay, this should go off. It didn't go off, so that's one we need to fix. So to fix this, so what I did is basically bring back this code. If you could remember, we actually removed this is hide sidebar, so I brought it back, and right now I'm saying if is hide sidebar, using an if statement right here to check if is hide sidebar is true. Go ahead and reverse the animation, else go ahead and forward the animation. Basically what we are saying is that if the screen is too small, hide the container. If the screen is too wide, show the container. That's the kind of the simplest way to understand this. So I'm going to save this and I'm going to do a test run right now. So let's try to resize this. So actually see it's been there. So reduce this. At a point it goes off. See it comes in, it goes off, it comes in, goes off. So that's what we're trying to achieve, and that's working. So I'm gonna go ahead and run the other part of the code, other part of the containers. I will actually needs to, and this if statement here is going to watch to see if is hide column is 2, and it's going to if statement here is for watching this particular is hide column 2. If that is true, go ahead and trigger the reverse on the first controller we have, else trigger forward on this on the controller we have. So that's the case there. And to use that, I'm going to replace what we have right here is hide column 2 with an animated builder that looks like this. So I'm going to copy the animated builder over, and then replace this with it. So there we go. Replace it with this. Go ahead and save this. Nice one. Let's try this. Actually see that sliding in. So let's try everything for the beginning. Nice one. Try it again. Good. If you try to resize this, see that goes off, that comes on, that goes off, comes on, goes off, comes on. That's one. So right now we actually need to do the same for the last sidebar we have. So basically delete what we have here. So for the last sidebar we are going to do the same and delete what we have right here and replace it with this code. I'm going to copy over. I'm going to copy some code. It's still the same stuff. We have been doing the same animated builder, wrapping all this stuff with animated builder. There's nothing much that we're actually doing here. So I'm going to comment this out, bring this animated builder in here. So right now go ahead and save it. Go ahead and save this and bring it back in the view, so I can actually watch and see what's going on. So right now I'm going to restart our app. See that animation, that cool animation. See how the both of them is sliding in. Everything is sliding in. Nice one. And if you try to resize this, see how them both of them slides off from the screen. If you keep going back, this slides off, and if you keep going forward, everything slides in. Nice. Slides off, slides in, slides off, slides in. Yeah, that's cool. I think we're almost at the point where we can actually call it a day. Yeah, so far we actually added this, but there's some stuff I needed to add. I told you guys about the drawer. We haven't added the drawer right now, because I said if we get to the point whereby this is not in a okay, that's one issue that we need to fix. We need to fix this so that this will actually not get to this point. We don't want our app to actually shrink to this point. So to fix this, I'm going to add a package, a flutter package for actually setting some for working with desktop apps and setting some properties on the Flutter desktop app. So I'm going to show you guys what the package is all about. This app right here. So there we go. I'm going to copy the package over and then go ahead and start installing it. So right here, I'm going to paste the package over here. So the package is called Windows Size, and this is the GitHub. So the package is not available on pub spec, basically on pub website. Yeah, pub.dev, that's Flutter package website. So you can't find this there. You can actually get this from the GitHub URL, the GitHub repo, and then this is how you can like be able to install it and then use it in your project. So that's what we're doing right there. So I'm going to go ahead and install this. So once the installation is done with, so we just need to monitor that. Yeah, I think that's done. Yeah, okay, yeah, the whole installation is done. So right now I can actually go over to the app in the main.dot and then use this package in there. I'm going to show you guys how we can actually utilize the package in our main.dot. So in here, inside our main.dot, before run app, I'm going to paste some code and then import most of this foundation, and this one should be from that.io, and then we need to import this from the package itself. So this is the package we stored, this code right there. So what we are checking is we are saying that if the platform that this app is running on, if it's not web, but if it's a Mac OS platform, if it's a Linux platform, and if it's a Windows platform, go ahead and set the Windows title to be not the fastest finger. This should be called job platform app. Yeah, we call it job platform app. And next we are going to set the window minimum size should be 500 as the width. That's the minimum width, so this will not be kind of like shrinking down much. So we have to set it to minimum of 587, and then maximum width should be infinity. You can actually expand it as long as you want. So go ahead and save this, but I will need to stop the app from running and start it from the beginning again. So run without debugging, so we have to wait for this to actually run. So like I said, this is what we need to add. Let's wait for this to finish up building. Once that is done, we can actually go ahead and work this out and then add a drawer. So I think what should be remaining right now is the drawer part, but we need to add a drawer to the app also. Let's see. Okay, the app is live. That's cool. Right now let's try resizing this and see how far we can go. This went ahead. I'm gonna continue the resizing to this point. Already what we're expecting. Let's start this again. I'm gonna say run without debugging. Okay, now that's good. That's working right now. So if we can actually bring this up, so right now we're able to get this to work. I don't know why it didn't work the previous time, but so we can actually string this. You see, there's the list we can actually go. It's not going to shrink down anymore, so it's not actually shrinking down anymore. So but we can actually go ahead and expand it as long as we want, but we can't shrink it past this particular points. At this point, we should be able to call drawer to open up. At this point, since we are hiding the sidebar, we should be able to have the drawer to show for the user to use. In this case, what we need to do, actually head back to our app, and then inside our app, inside scaffold, I'm gonna add drawer widget inside scaffold. So inside scaffolder, we're going to add this. There we go. And we are checking to see if this scroll will only be available if the user is using a smaller device. So if this device width is very small, so that's only when we could be able to allow the user to use the drawer. Apart from that, we shouldn't allow the user to use the drawer. We should hide it. So if you go ahead and run this again, let's go take a look this time around. So I'm bring this up, and I'm gonna try to tap on this. I can actually see the drawer is showing up. That's when I can actually dismiss it, and I can drag it from the left and drag the drawer from the left, and that's work. Should drag the drawer from the left. That's working. Next, okay, next stuff, we can actually try to expand this, and once this is expanded, we can't actually be able to use the drawer anymore. So if you tap on this, the drawer will not show up. I don't know why this is not showing my keyboard. Okay guys, sorry for this. Kind of notice that this is not showing my mouse keyboard. Whenever I'm trying to tap on something, it should show. Okay, yeah, I think that's it for now. And this is currently the states our app is in. This should be the final path of this video today. We are able to actually touch down on so many topics, basically being how to layer a dummy, how to add a dummy layout before you can actually start adding your main UI on top of it. Because the reason why I go with this method is that I don't want to start building one particular side of the UI, then at the end of that notice that the whole responsiveness of the app is not actually working and is not actually coming together. So I kind of prefer having a dummy way of showing the layouts, testing how the responsiveness is going to work with every part of the screen. So if that works fine, then I'll just go ahead and start adding the micro UIs and other small part of the UIs to the bigger picture. So this actually helps me a lot. This is what I've been using so far, and I'm giving you guys for free to use also. But I'll be streaming more layouts. We'll be building different layouts from now onwards. I just want to see how you guys view this topic. If you guys like it, just give me a like the video, and also share the video, and also sub too. So also try to add a sub to the video, so I can actually keep on creating more of this content and then giving you guys more on layouts building, like I said. Yeah, because that's actually one of the most painful parts of creating house and other stuff, getting the layouts in order, trying to build a nice layout, making sure that everything is responsive across different devices, because once it's not responsive across different devices, also, especially if you're building an app for desktop with Flutter or web. For some people that will be using Flutter web to build the apps, but the issue with Flutter web is I can only use Flutter web for internal apps. So if you're building apps that doesn't need SEO, more of SEO, or that can only be used within a team, within the company or internal company teams, so you can actually build the web apps using Flutter. But if it's gonna be used like let's say for landing pages, something kind of like landing pages or SEO intensive kind of stuff, Flutter web is not ready for that. But Flutter desktop in the other end is actually okay at the moment. So far, you can actually build majority of the apps you want to build on Flutter desktop, except the apps that needs to use core hardware functionality. Some of those hardware functionality has not been implemented, so you have to figure out a way to do that by yourself, but I'm still exploring those side also, those side on how to actually use core desktop functionality or APIs in Flutter. So maybe in the future I'll be showing you guys how to do some stuff like that. But yeah, I think that should be it for this video right here, or for this yeah, basically for this. But I can actually show you guys one more stuff. So one more thing is that right now I'm just showing you guys how to run this on desktop, but we haven't actually talked about how to run this on web. So let me close this and show you guys how to run this on web. So I'm gonna run this on web. So I'm gonna say flutter run. So we're waiting for this to actually build the web app and see if it works fine. So on the web, we can actually see the layout. So if I'm going to restart this, so actually see the whole animation, see how animations comes together, and then let's try to resize this. You can actually see everything works, and that's cool. And then you can actually see this is actually taking the same minimum width that we gave it. It doesn't kind of like shrinks beyond this width. That's cool. See that? See the scroll view working also, and then you can actually see the sidebar showing up. And then if you go ahead and try to expand this, see the whole stuff showing up and the whole animations coming together. So that's cool. That's nice. That's it for the web. And then for mobile, like I said, we already have the mobile showing up here already. So this is how it works on mobile, and this is the navigation bar showing up on mobile. And that's it for both mobile, web, desktop, all those paths. Yeah, and that's it, guys. So we'll be looking towards next stuff we'll be building. And if, like I said, if you like this, just do subscribe to the channel and keep on supporting the channel, and we could keep on growing together. Okay, thank you guys for watching this. See you guys on the next stream. See you guys on this next stream. Have a nice day, everyone.